Hello and thank you for joining me. It is a glorious Sunday morning. This video is about survival kit that's actually on your person, and it's based on the principle of live from your bergen, fight from your webbing, survive from the contents of your pockets. And it is the last bit that I'm going to concentrate on, the survival kit that's actually in your pockets. Stay with me. So it's all about what's actually in your pockets. Worst case scenario, you've ditched everything else for whatever reason. So it is, your last ditch, your last resort. So things like fixed blade knives, it might be on your belt, you might have it, you might not. It depends where you're going, really. A water bottle, you might have it, you might not. Yeah, this is what's in your pockets. One part that you'll see in a moment, there's a chap on YouTube. He is the Prepared Pathfinder. He's ex-para, ex-pathfinder, 30 odd years of service, so he definitely knows his onions. And he uses what he calls an admin line. And I've adopted that. I've borrowed it to see how I get on with it, instead of having things loose in my pocket, but we'll go into that in a moment. So anyway, enough waffling, let's just crack on. So, in the thumbnail, you saw me with my coat on. It's a barber jacket. It's military style, but it's not a military jacket, if that makes sense. I got it second hand, quality is very good. But anyway, so what I've done, following from the Prepared Pathfinder, in my top right hand pocket I've sewn a piece of webbing on the inside of the pocket, and there is a little carabiner attached, and on that is a lanyard. And of course, if you're not wearing the jacket because it's warm and you decide to take the jacket off, then the items that are in there, although it's a bit of faff, are going to come out of there and then go into trouser pockets. Yeah, the idea is that you're always going to have these items on your body. So if you had to run away and dump everything else, unless you intend to be running down the road stark naked, yeah, you're going to have items with you. So as I say, little webbing strap that I've sewn into the pocket on a little carabiner, and there is a lanyard. So first of all, there's a whistle. Yeah, it's obviously signalling point of view. It's a lot easier and a lot better to use a whistle than to shout. It uses less energy and the sound travels further. I believe in the States and mostly in Europe it is 3 blasts weight, 3 blasts weight. In the UK I believe it's actually 6 blasts and weight, but we're not going to get tied up with that aspect, because at the end of the day, if you're hitting the whistle 3 or 6 times, waiting a minute and doing it again, it's repeating, and that's what's going to get people's attention. Yeah, you're going to have, or we do have, loads of people visiting from other countries that are tourists, and they might be used to the 3 blasts. So mountain rescue and everyone else is going to respond to just consistent whistle blasts. So there is a whistle there, and I've wrapped some 1-inch Gorilla Tape round it. Next down the line is just the usual, a little photon LED, just to give low level light. Then next item is a mini Bic, and again there's loads of 1-inch Gorilla Tape round that, because if you need to make fire, you need to get a fire, it's a lighter, and you can peel off the tape and light the tape, and that will give you an extended flame. And then the last bit of kit that's actually on the end is a Victorinox Alox, and this is the Farmer Cross, I think the model is. It's not too bad, or it might just be the Farmer, I can't remember now. I know the one that I wanted would also have the scissors, but they're like rocking horse poop at the moment. But it's got an awl, a blade, a perfectly adequate wood saw that is also the reverse. The back of it is fantastic for sparks off a ferro rod. And then of course it's got a screwdriver and a bottle opener, a smaller screwdriver that you can use on a Phillips screw, and a tin opener. I usually carry as part of my EDC a standard Swiss Army knife that you would have seen in my EDC videos, because of the tools that are on that I find quite useful on a day-to-day basis. But this model, I don't really anticipate needing perhaps Phillips screwdrivers etc. whilst in the field, but this model, the cutting blade and the saw are slightly longer and thicker, whilst still being perfectly legal to carry in a public place without good reason, because the cutting edge is under 3 inches and it doesn't lock. Anyway, so that's it. The items do come off very, very easy. But the idea being that that's clipped onto your person, it's long enough to still use. That's why the whistle is nearest the carabiner, because if it's up there and I need it, I can use it without having to fart about. So that's something that I'm keen to see how well I get on with. The next item in this jacket, on the inside there is a small pocket that's secured by press stud. And in there is my polymath pocket survival tin. It has been modified. There is a video on my channel about the pocket survival kit, and it shows you the contents of the standard shop bought kit and the modified one that I carry. Then the last item is in the top left breast pocket. It's in this little orange bag. The orange I've retained because it contrasts. It can be used as a signal. Yeah, it will stand out like a sore thumb if it's placed at a height, actually within, you know, especially within a wooded area, something like that. And inside of there is my emergency shelter kit. And as I said, this is last ditch. In an ideal world, you will have, I don't know, a fanny pack or a bum bag, whatever you want to call it, or a pouch on your belt, yeah, or a satchel, a haversack, rucksack, whatever, with more substantial items. This is all last ditch emergency. So there is an olive green mylar blanket, which you can obviously use as a blanket to try and retain heat, or you can, the reason I'm carrying it is primarily for an emergency shelter system. Now, they are quite delicate, and the usual way that you'll see people showing you how to use them in an emergency shelter is that you either find some smooth pebbles, or you can use leaf matter or dirt, mud, yeah, and basically you put that into the corner of the sheet, then tie it off and then peg it out. I've added a few items into my kit to negate me having to fart about looking for smooth stones and everything else. So if you just bear with me, they're in this little Ziploc bag. I own an Umrex HDR home defence revolver. Yeah, it's CO2 powered. I got it doing lockdown just for a bit of fun in the garden with a good lady. It fires a 50 cal rubber steel impregnated ball. So what I actually done, it's there, that is a 50 cal rubber ball. I have taken, I think there's 5 or 6 of these, and that's what I will put into the corner of the mylar blanket and then attach it. And I will actually show you how I do that in a moment. The other thing I've got are 4 pieces of shock cord that are looped, and then they are attached to micro paracord. So it's pretty strong stuff, small, doesn't weigh anything. And there are 4 of those ready to rock and roll. I've then got 2 additional shock cord loops and a sewing bobbin of the micro paracord. So if I need more cordage, it's there. And that is it. That is the bare minimum that's in my pockets. Obviously you've got things like a wristwatch and a wallet and a mobile phone, etc. But from a survival kit point of view, they are the bare minimum items that are in my coat pocket if I decide to go for a wander over the nature reserve, or go and hit a bit of woodland or whatever. So if something happens, providing I've got that item of clothing still, I've got the bare minimum items that I require to try to survive. Right, what I'm going to do is just pause and then we'll crack into, and I will show you how I attach the rubber balls and shock cord to the Milo blanket. So that's the micro paracord I've bought a reel of. It's a paracord Planet. It come from it. It's called nano cord. So there's quite a lot still on there. I'm not taking out the olive green Milo blanket because I don't have loads of those, whereas the bog standard silver Milo blanket I've got absolutely loads. So I'm not going to unravel all of it. So there's the corner, there's the ball. So we put the ball underneath in the corner, we twist it off, then with a piece of shock cord we literally make a loop in the loop, if that makes sense. And slide it over thus. We then pull the shock cord tight and it bites. Then we attach our cordage to that, and you can see I'm giving that some beans and it's retained, and that is then how I would peg it either to the ground or tie it off to a tree, fence post, whatever. And the idea that I've used a bit of shock cord is that it's going to blow about quite a bit because it's light. You probably go deaf because it will sound like you're sleeping or sheltering in a bag of cheese and onion crisps. But the idea of the shock cord is that it will actually give with the movement, whereas if there was no shock cord on there, then there is more tendency for it to rip apart. So anyway, that's it. If you found the video of use, give us a thumbs up. If you like what you see, then consider subscribing to the channel. And I would love to read your comments if you follow the same philosophy, and that being that you live out of your bergen, fight from your webbing. That's why on the thumbnail I put a cross through fight and put function, because I'm not fighting anyone. Yeah, so I'm going to function. I'm not wearing webbing, so that's function from my pouches, which could be a water bottle pouch, as I said, or a haversack, something like that. But then worst case scenario, that I'm unfortunate enough to lose all of that, I have my last ditch items to survive from my pockets, or fail trying. Have a great day. The sun is shining. Life is relatively good at the moment. Catch you soon.